Let's get into our NBA Finals preview. Oh, did not click everything, Dana. Let's get into our NBA Finals preview between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. Um, yes, and the Miami Heat here. Um, Denver, obviously one of the better teams throughout the league in the Western Conference all season. Uh, Defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Phoenix Suns, and the Los Angeles Lakers. And they have not gotten any respect throughout the postseason, right? Like people were picking Phoenix to beat them. Of course, if they were healthy and stuff like that, people were saying they were going to lose. People were picking the Lakers. People were picking the Clippers to be the favorites out west. The Warriors even to be the favorites out west. And the Denver Nuggets just didn't get any respect, right, over the course of the season because people didn't believe Nikola Jokic should have won a third MVP. And people thought that they weren't going to be able to step up against these other teams. And rightfully so. They kicked everybody's ass. And yes, Minnesota's a young team trying to figure things out, but they demolished them. They did what they were supposed to do against them. Phoenix, people were picking them even with all the uncertainty of DeAndre and Monty Williams, this bench. Chris Paul went down, DeAndre and apparently went down in the last game, but it was just like it wasn't close. Let's get that clear. Even with those injuries, it wasn't close, and that's what Denver Nuggets is supposed to do. That's what a number one seed is supposed to do. They get to this LA series, and people are still picking the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm sitting there going, have we not seen the Denver Nuggets out there playing? In every game, Nikola Jokic dissected them. He demolished Anthony Davis. He demolished LeBron James. Jamal Murray killed them. Um, and they were easily in the finals. It wasn't even close. Like it wasn't even close. Like it was easily to the finals for the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic, Western Conference Finals MVP. People are saying Jamal Murray, but I'm like, nah, let's settle down here. That's Nikola Jokic's um, Conference Finals MVP. Um, Denver offensively is scary. The ability to have those dribble handoffs between Jokic and Jamal Murray, the ability to have Jamal Murray get his own bucket, the knockdown shooters of KCP, Michael Porter Jr., the energizers of Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown, Dorchester kid. Um, the ability to have those guys like that make them scary, right? Like, and everything flows off the Joker. Mike Malone killing the media for respect every chance he gets. Like we're still talking about these other teams. Why not we talking about us? Um, and they have really just brought it together throughout the season. I thought he was building Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., KCP, all these other guys, getting them in a flow together. And when you have a guy that can score and move the ball like that, and I think that's the different level we're seeing of players in this league, right? The ability to create and do all three levels of offense. That's the level that I think Jason Tatum has to get to. That's the level that Jimmy Butler was able to display surprisingly, especially from 3-point range over the course of the playoffs. The ability to create for others, find other guys, and do all the playmaking stuff that separates people, right? Like, and I think that's something that Jason Tatum needs to get to. But sticking on the Denver Nuggets in this Miami Heat matchup, uh, I believe the Denver Nuggets took both games, one in December, one in February, I believe. And that's when we had the incidents. I believe it was with Markieff Morris, where he tried to chuck Nikola Jokic late in the game, and it wasn't necessary. It was uncalled for at that point in time. And Nikola Jokic basically jacked him in the back, and basically, I believe there was some whiplash type effects to him, and that was sent the Miami Heat into a rage and ready to go to the Denver Nuggets locker room and fight them. Um, yes, that was definitely a tense moment during the season, and now they meet in the finals. Ironically, who'd have thought that little moment would be foreshadowing, right? Future telling to the NBA Finals, right? And looking at it from Miami Heat's perspective, where they defeated the Bucks, they defeated the New York Knicks, they defeated the Boston Celtics, and looking at what this underdog team has been able to do out throughout the playoffs. And they're kind of both underdogs, right? Like the Denver Nuggets, even though they're in one seed, even they're going to be favored in this matchup, have been underdogs throughout the playoffs, right? Like people have picked everybody else but them. People have picked everybody but Miami. So it's kind of like that, but Denver Nuggets have the talent, they have the offense, they have the execution on that side of the ball, and people are giving Miami no chance. And I'm like, if there's been a team that has been able to show you throughout the course of the playoffs that don't count us out, we're going to try anything and anything to win, it is the Miami Heat. They have been able to do that round in, round out. Have they faced a good enough team as the Denver Nuggets? People are going to say no. I'm going to say yes. Boston and Milwaukee, both those teams are there. This team is battle tested, and if there's one thing Miami is going to do, is going to go down swinging. Miami hasn't. I think they lost those games within a couple points, like 4 or 5 points, both games. So it shows that there's some type of fight with the Miami Heat against this Denver Nuggets team over the course of the season, over the course of who's playing, whatever the case may be. And the matchup is going to be if Bam can figure out a way to create any type of hesitance in Nikola Jokic, right? Is Miami going to be able to double or triple team or take away passing lanes or shift to a zone against this Denver Nuggets team? Are they going to be able to do that? I think Denver's too good offensively to do that. Like they're going to figure it out on that side of the ball. Regardless of a post up for Nikola Jokic, a mid range shot for Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray working the pick and roll and penetrating, getting into the lane. You're not going to have that problem if you're Denver, I believe. But if there's any team to sit there and gunk it up a little bit, it's going to be Miami. But that's the main thing that I'm looking at in this series. Is anybody going to be able to guard Jimmy Butler? They're going to throw KCP at him. They're going to throw Bruce Brown at him. They're going to throw Aaron Gordon. I'm sure if there's a strength and size matchup that they can look at, they're going to throw that at Jimmy Butler. Can those other guys continue to make shots? Max Strus, the Caleb Martins, the Duncan Robinsons. Can those guys continue to make shots? Can Gabe Vincent continue to make shots? Can Kyle Lowry give Miami Heat anything in this series to make it interesting, right? Like that's the one thing that people are looking at right now. But I think the main matchup is Bam. Can Bam be effective enough over the course of the series like he was in other series, enough to make an impact? He's going to be needed to make shots, especially on the offensive end. Depending on how they're guarding him, I'm pretty sure they can even throw Aaron Gordon on him. Nikola Jokic can probably guard him. So they're going to have to try to figure out a way to get Bam in there offensively and make an impact on that end, potentially get guys in foul trouble. That's the only chance they really have. And, of course, Jimmy Butler to extend to another level, of course, during these NBA Finals. And I think Jimmy knows that it's another uphill battle, right? Like he knows that, hey, we faced the Lakers, AD, and LeBron in the bubble. We faced the Boston Celtics multiple times. Last year, we didn't get it done. This year, we did get it done. So he knows that he's overcoming the odds with each win that he has, right? Like, I think everybody knows that, and he knows he's up for the task. Like, hey, I got to figure out a way to be effective during this series and give my guys a chance to win the game. And I think that's what Jimmy Butler's thinking of. But I just think it's the Denver Nuggets time, the way that they've been playing. I've been picking them all in the Western Conference. I've been picking them to win every series. And I think this team has a level of defense that people didn't think they had, right? But they have KCP, they have Aaron Gordon, they have Bruce Brown, they have guys that can be disruptors and guys that can slow things down and be a roadblock when attacking the basket, when trying to score from three-point range. I feel like these guys are better defenders and stuff like that, and a little bit more together offensively, right? Like they're probably they're the better offensive team, no doubt in my mind, right? And the ability to shoot the three as well. They're right behind the Miami Heat. So I got the Denver Nuggets in 5 in this one. I don't know if there's a way Jimmy Butler can figure it out. I've said this to people. I'm saying it's the greatest run in NBA history. If he can figure out a way to beat the Denver Nuggets. If Spo and Jimmy Butler and Bam and those guys can figure out a way to beat this Denver Nuggets team who have been the top of the Western Conference all season, if they can do that, it is the greatest run in NBA history. Let's just get that out the way. Like, it is the greatest run in NBA history. There's no question, no doubt in my mind. That's going to be better than Hakeem. Hakeem had Kenny Smith, Clyde Drexler, Robert Horry, guys like that, Mario Elie, Sam Cassell. Like, he had guys on his team. Dirk Nowitzki, even his team. He had Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Sean Marion, Peja Stojakovic, Tyson Chandler. He had guys on his team. Jimmy Butler, if he figures out a way to win this NBA Finals, and as a Jimmy Butler fan, and a person that respects the Miami Heat, and as a person who respects NBA lore, this is the greatest run in NBA history. It's not even close. It's not even close. And anybody arguing with me or anything like that, I'll argue you to the death if Jimmy Butler figures out a way to beat the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, and the number 1 seed out West with no home court advantage. I'm telling you, it is the greatest run in NBA history if Jimmy Butler figures out a way to win. And if Nikola Jokic wins, if the Denver Nuggets win, it just cements that this was a team that was built, not bought. It cements a team that has demanded respect all season, the past couple of years. Injuries have held them back, but now they're all together. And it cements Nikola Jokic as one of the best all time. And people can argue with that or whatever the case may be, or where his lineage is or whatever the case may be. He's already a 2 times MVP. He plays like no one else we've ever seen before at that position. People are going to say Wilt Chamberlain. People are going to say Arvydas Sabonis. People are going to say Hakeem and Shaq and Patrick Ewing and all these other guys and stuff like that. He now enters that class with those guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like I said, Giannis was already a top 25 time player because of just what he was able to do over the course of his career and that championship run. Nikola Jokic is going to be right there if he wins a championship. You guys can argue with yourselves, whatever the case may be. He's a 2-time MVP. This is not no Steve Nash MVP where he never got close to the finals. He's in the finals. He's obviously the best player in the series. If he's able to stamp this with a finals MVP and a championship, we're going to have some tough conversations. There's going to be some people that are going to sit there and try to make all the cases for other people and stuff like that. There is nothing like we've seen of Nikola Jokic. We have seen it at different positions. LeBron James, Magic Johnson, guys of that nature. But the creativity, the offensive flow that this guy has, yeah, we're going to have some tough conversations. And especially at the center position. We're going to have some tough conversations. I'm going to start bumping some people off, and some old heads ain't going to like it. Let me just say that right now. That's what's going to happen. But that's my NBA Finals preview. I think the Denver Nuggets get it done in 5 or 6. I think Nikola Jokic wins Finals MVP just because I feel like he's going to be passing a lot and scoring a lot and taking advantage of everything that Miami tries to throw at him in that series. That will do it for this episode of the Basketball Soapbox. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Going to be continuing this week, probably with Ring Takes, reviewing Night of Champions with the guys, Brian and Lewis, and probably more finals talk. I'll try to have a guest on and try to make something happen there. But that will do it for this episode 49 of the Basketball Soapbox. I'm back with flow. We're going to get these basketball episodes up. Going to do some quick hits, especially around with the news of Nick Nurse going to Philly, Adrian Griffin going to Milwaukee. Other coaching signings are probably going to happen. The draft is coming up. I'm going to be joining some guys in something, the draft review and basketball talks with a couple of guys that I know. So that I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, I'm going to post the links to that and see if you guys can turn up for that. But that will do it for this episode of the Basketball Soapbox. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.